What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Bubba Speed Career Mode in MotoGP 20, and we are set off to all the Australian Grand Prix. And obviously, for those who don't know, I definitely recommend you watch the previous episodes. But if you just look at the scoreboard, at the standings, you can tell Bubba Speed is the world champion. I mean, he has 100 points over Marcel Schroeder with only 3 races left, which is, of course, the Australian GP. Then we have Malaysia, and then we have Valencia. So we are at the very, very end of this season, and Bubba has nothing to lose, and Marcel Schroeder has nothing to gain either, which means that Bubba is simply not going to qualify. He's not going to waste his time with that bullshit, and he's going to try to succeed in a very interesting challenge, in my opinion, which is to see how many wins Bubba can get in 3 races, starting from dead last. So it's going to be it's definitely going to be a difficult little challenge to try to at least get, I would say, a decent target is winning 1. If we can win 1, starting in last position, that's definitely a nice, a very big feather in Bubba's cap. And I want to say one thing, like, oh my god, look at that crash, first of all, Jesus. Second of all, when we left the MotoGP, it's going to be a hell of a lot more difficult. The quality of the riders is obviously going to be a lot higher, and the stakes are going to be a lot higher too, which means we're going to have to level up the difficulty as well, because we want to make it as difficult as possible, whilst also being approachable for somebody at my level. I'm not good at these games. I used to be pretty good at them, but I'm definitely not anymore. And I feel like if it's going to be entertaining for me and for you guys, it has to be on a difficulty level and some settings to where I can still compete, but it has to be difficult, especially because we're going to be going up to the KTM. Obviously, it's still going to be the factory KTM, so not the worst team you can be with, but definitely not the best either. So want to make it interesting, want to make it difficult, but also maintain a decent level of having chances of winning. And we're all the way up to 7th position already. Have a little bit of an issue there with the rear tire popping up, but so far so good. We're still doing okay. 7th position, about to drop maybe to 8th, not quite. Able to maintain the position. And Phillip Island is a track that I really love. I think I've said this pretty much every time I've done a video on this track, but I just really enjoy it. It's extremely fast, but it feels like it's probably also very technical as well. So it's not like just a point and shoot track. It's very entertaining. I feel like it must be insane. Oh, Luca Marini! We crash out Luca Marini. Did not do that on purpose. We are in grave danger here, and there we go. We crash out. I mean, realistically, we should have just slowed down, check out who was behind us, and then got back on the track. But I mean, we made a stupid choice there. Probably gonna get a penalty as well. No, okay, thankfully no. That would have been just devastating. But we're all the way back down to 28th. We only have 20 positions to gain before we can get back to where we were, but we still have 4 laps to do so. So there's plenty of time. Very fast on this track. Just really enjoy it. And like I said, like, I love the level changes. It kind of reminds me in a way of Mugello, because Mugello has so many level changes, but it's very fast. So it's not quite like, say, a Saxon Ring, where there's essentially no like actual speed to Saxon Ring. Oh, poor Virge. There's no, like, top speed parts of the track. It's not really about that. It's not a point and shoot track at all. Whereas Mugello has, I feel like, more like Phillip Island. Oh my god, look at Joe Roberts' bike. Holy shit. Oh my goodness, poor guy. My brother's going to be just demoralized of seeing Joe Roberts essentially die. But yeah, like, I feel like it has to be so much fun. Like Mugello. In some ways, even like Brno must be really fun too. Even though I think Brno is a little bit more, I don't know, it doesn't really appeal to me that much, Brno. But Phillip Island and Mugello are just absolutely phenomenal tracks and very dynamic, it seems like. And obviously, we still have 3 laps to go. Once we get up to this bunch of people right here, I think it's going to be a lot easier because we can draft them, we can use them to propel ourselves forward, and we should be able to get closer as Jesko Raffin crashes out. I gotta say, like, it's almost more entertaining to be back here than it is up front, because when you're up front, yeah, sure, you're battling for wins, but you kind of miss all these crazy-ass crashes where bikes go flying halfway up into the sky, and it's just absurd. Joe Roberts is actually still on track, so he somehow survived that. And if you hear me like taking a pause for a second, it's because I'm drinking myself a nice warm tea. The weather over here in Sardinia right now is really just absurd. I mean, it's like it can be really hot in the afternoon, then really cold at night, or really cold in the morning. It's not, but not like typical weather here. It's like, I don't know, it's just, you don't really have a stable temperature where it's like, okay, fine, the lows and the highs, they match. It's like, it's either one or the other, and it's really, really bizarre. So I have to stock up on some tea and try to maintain, maintain a decent temperature, at least indoors. So definitely trying to do that. And so if you hear me take a sip, it's not because I'm, I don't know, doing something weird. It's because I'm drinking tea. So, bear with me. As we go all the way up to 20th position, amazing performance here from Bubba, having crashed out and still somehow able to, get towards the points positions, and realistically with essentially 3 laps left, there's every chance in the world that Bubba can get a top five finish if he can maintain this pace. And Luca Marini and Bubba and Joe Roberts are back there having a battle for an amazing 28th position, obviously, or 27th position. I apologize, but those are two guys that definitely are probably dealing with broken bones and shattered egos for sure. So you have to understand it's not going to be easy for them, but you have to respect the fact that Joe Roberts' bike survived flying, like I said, a solid probably 20 feet up in the sky. And Bubba up to 14th, which means we're already securing ourselves, at least for now, two points. There's still a chance of us either crashing out or getting higher up. I would assume we're going to get higher up, considering how much faster we pretty much are than everybody else. And I do have to admit, all right, halfway through this campaign, I figured, should I up the difficulty or not? But the reason I didn't raise the difficulty is because in a lot of tracks, I really do struggle. Like, there's no doubt about that. You've seen certain tracks where Bubba has had some issues. So I was like, I don't want to raise it too high to where it ruins the flow of the season. Because I feel like once you start on a certain difficulty for that season, whether it be too high or too low, you kind of need to finish with the same difficulty. At least that's my opinion. I didn't want to go mess around with it. And I think with MotoGP, because we're playing at like 85, I think, or 90, whatever it is, I can't remember. But I feel like either raising by 5 or 10. 10 might be a little bit too much, but I feel like that's a relatively acceptable change in difficulty, to where it's going to be very noticeable, but it might not be too noticeable to the point where we're completely non-competitive. So I'm hoping that it'll be a decent little idea. But another issue is that Bubba isn't really all that good at any of the tracks to start the season. So we're not going to really have an idea of where Bubba's at until, I would say, the 3rd or 4th race. I mean, maybe in Argentina, but as Bubba almost crashes out, tells whoever that is to fuck off. But realistically, that was Bubba's fault. Bastianini. More likely, there's going to be an old Kentucky brawl in the paddock later on, as Bubba Speed is not happy, but he is in 7th position, which is exactly where he was. I think it was exactly 7th. It was either 6th or 7th, right when he crashed. So he's made up a lot of ground. He's up to 6th, and I mean, you can see 5th position right there. I would say, considering starting dead last plus a crash, a top 5 is not just an okay position, but actually a pretty damn good one. So that's, I think, where Bubba can realistically expect to be. He's 1.6 back. So it's not a small amount of ground to make, but if there's anybody who can do it, it is Bubba. Tire-wise, we're still looking pretty damn good. The rear tire is a little bit shot on the left side, but not too bad. So we should be able to go throughout the rest of this lap without any real tire issues. We still have traction control at 2 with power 1. I don't really feel like there's really a need to go up to power 2. I think it's kind of an unnecessary risk to risk running out of fuel when you're pretty much doing as well as you can. I think a win is pretty much out of the picture. I mean, first place is almost at the next corner at this point, so it makes no sense to, go up to power 2, because you can see we're kind of losing like 0.1 every 5 seconds or so. So don't want to risk going all the way down to a point of no return when it comes to fuel. I think power 1 is fine. Power 0 is definitely an issue. As we do maintain a fast enough pace to get up to 5th position, Fernandez is right there. He's pretty close. If Bubba can have a nice little 3rd sector here, there's every chance in the world we can get a nice 4th position, and who knows, maybe even 3rd. I mean, if we get up to 3rd, then 2nd is right there too. actually have a nice little drive coming out of here. It's going to be all about being smooth on the brakes. Nagashima's right there. Man, Bubba, ooh, coming out of it a little bit too wide. Probably. Oh, and the wheelie screws it. The wheelie screws it over. It's not going to be enough. Having a very bad drive coming out of that penultimate corner. As we do go through the last left-hander. If the drive is good enough, there's a chance we can draft him, but I don't think it's going to be enough space. It's going to be a 4th position here for Bubba Speed. It hits the wall, too. Started dead last. Crashed out of 7th position and gets all the way up to 4th, which is phenomenal. That's an absolutely stunning performance. A 1:31, which is a really, really good lap time, which is actually 2 seconds faster than Thomas Luthi, who won the race. And that's a nice little revenge, or I should say, a nice little revanche for Thomas Luthi and even for Marcel Schroeder, to be fair, who is able to get himself a nice little win there. Let's see where he's actually at in the standings. He's 5th position, so he's 166 points behind Bubba Speed, but have to be pretty honest. Like, there was a lot of races there where Bubba was somehow involved in Thomas Luthi crashing. So much respect to Luthi for continuing to at least try and every once in a while having a good race. But that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed this little mini challenge. And we will be doing the same thing in Malaysia and Valencia, so hopefully you're excited about that video. I know I am. So let me know what you think of this performance in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next episode of the Bubba Speed Career Mode.